Hello, this is Ashee from Crafting with Ashee, and this is the card making today. It's using the embossed resist technique. So let me show you what I've done. Okay, so I've got a piece here, just a plain whisper white in my here on my craft mat, and we're going to do some sponging. And I've got a ton of inks here I'm going to show you, and I think I'm going to start off with here with Mango Melody and maybe a bit of Real Red as well. So let's start off anyway with Mango Melody, and we're going to do some blending with our blending brushes, which are these, which I love. So I'm just going to get some ink on my blending brush, and I'm always going to start, I tend to start always off my craft mat. And don't put too much ink on. You can always add more, but you can't take ink off so easily. So I tend to just, it's a case of building layers up. I know it's something that people don't always want to hear, because they just don't want to take the time. It takes time to build layers of colour up, and I think some people find they just want to plonk and it'd be done right now. They don't want to take the time that it does take to build a layer up. Don't worry about that, because we're not going to see a lot of our blending anyway. That was because I had some blemish on the paper. That's when that happens. Okay. And we're just going to build it up. I'm going to come in from the other end as well. A bit darker from this end. I'm not looking for a perfect blend. I want some highlights, some lowlights, whatever you want to call them. It just gives interest and variation to paper. Okay. That'll do for now. I'm going to bring in my Real Red, and I'm going to start off again at one end here. And just blend it in, and just take your time blending it in. As I said, you're not going to see all of this, so I'm not spending ages to get a really nice blend. Because we're going to cover most of it up. Okay. So I think actually, for what I want, that'll do. Though I might put a little bit more red here. It's difficult on the camera because it shows up very differently in real life to the way it does on the camera, because the camera brings out makes things look lighter. Sometimes it has some glare that's not there in real life. Okay, so that's going to be fine for what I want to do. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of, close up these ink pads, both of them, put those aside. I've got a ton of them here, as I said, for this project. I'm going to put my blending brushes aside as well, and I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus, because I need a big block for the stamps that I'm going to use, and Stamparatus has that, so that's why I'm using that. Get rid of the mat because we want to use a cling stamp. And then this is it. We're going to use Butterfly Brilliance. And yes, this is one stamp set. It's ginormous, as you can tell. And I'm just going to actually put my paper further up my Stamparatus. And I'm going to plonk this where I want it. So something like that. Whoopsie daisy. And then I'm going to use my magnet to sort of keep it in position like that. Pick it up. Now we're going to do some heat embossing. So I'm going to use my embossing pillow here, embossing buddy, whatever you want to call it, just to make a mess. Line that back up again, and this will just make sure the powder only sticks where we want it to stick. I'm going to use Versamark ink. We're going to give it a really good ink up, as you can tell. You want it really well covered, because if it isn't, you'll know about it and it will really show up. So take your time to really give it a nice ink up like that, and then down and really press it. I'm going to give it a thump, as you can tell. I really want it pressed down. I'm going to take this away. You won't be able to see, but I can see that it's taken. So I'm going to close this up, set it aside for now, work over a coffee filter. And I've got here some clear embossing powder. Make sure you get everything well covered. It's difficult to see, I know it is, so just take your time. Just trying to see if I can get I think that'll do. So now what I'm going to do is heat set that, and I'll be back. Okay, so I've heat set everything, it's all done. You can't really see anything, maybe a little bit as you hold it up to the light, but don't worry, it will become clear soon. I'm going to set that aside for a second and just stamp our sentiments. So I've got a strip here of Whisper White, and the stamp set I'm going to use is Art Gallery. That's I'm going to use Happy Birthday and Best Wishes, and I'm going to stamp it this time in Early Espresso. Last time I used Night of Navy, this time I'm going to use Early Espresso. So I'm going to give it a little stamp. Press down. Yep, that'll do. Close this up for now, though we will need it again. Put this behind. Woo! Now you have to be careful not to do what I just did, is join your two magnets together, because they could crack them, what I did. And now it is a devil to get them apart. You can, but mine has actually stayed absolutely fine. But word of warning, just be careful with those two magnets. So let's just give this quickly a clean up. Otherwise, if I leave the stamps in here, they'll never remember to come home with me. Okay, get them out. Put this away. Okay, so I actually just cut the sentiment out using my trimmer quickly off camera. So there you go. Set that aside. And now we're going to use some of our Early Espresso this time. And this is where we're going to do the heat resist, the resist technique. And I'm going to get a nice amount of ink onto my blending tool. And as we blend it in, you will start to see our butterflies appear, and it will resist the ink where the butterflies are. Okay, so we had all the ink done. It looked like a hot mess, and then I've buffed it up using just a clean cloth. So I just rubbed off all the excess ink like this that was lying on top of the butterflies, and this is what you've got left. Isn't that cool? So let's bring in our card base, which is Whisper White. It's amazing that it started off as a piece of paper like that, and that's what we've created. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so we are going to use some good amount of Tombow on the back to stick this down. I'm actually just going to flip this over so it's much cleaner on that side and easier to see, and there's less chance of something to be transferred. Okay, so there we go. And now we're going to stick down our sentiment, which I've just cut to the width of the card. Okay, whoopsie daisy. And we're going to just stick that across somewhere like that. Okay, and then finishing touches, I have here some of these pearls. I'm going to use some of these just like this to emphasize the bodies of the butterflies. Okay, so two colorways. This one I used Night of Navy ink, and this one I used Early Espresso. Which do you prefer? I actually think I prefer the Early Espresso, but it's just two different colorways for you to see. So I hope you enjoyed that project. I'm sorry if it was a little bit of a long video. I'd be grateful if you did enjoy it, that if you would give it a thumbs up so YouTube know. And if you're not already subscribed, please do consider subscribing to my videos. If you want more information about this project, supply list, links to my online shop, and all that good stuff, it's on the blog post on my website. And the links to that and all my social media links are in the description box below. That includes a link to my Facebook group where I'm hosting a monthly online card club, so please do come and check us out. So thank you again, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye bye.